Okay, so this is why you need to interview 50 plus setters before you hire your first setter. Most people think they can just interview five people and it's okay, but I'm going to explain to you why you need to interview at least 50. Many people, when they're hiring a setter, what they'll do is they'll talk to five, six, seven, maybe even 10, and then they'll just hire someone who seems the best, who promises the most, and then they end up firing that person and having to rehire again. So I'm going to tell you how to avoid that process. So the mistake most business owners make is they follow this logical path, but it leads straight to a bad hire. Not only does it lead to a bad hire, it leads to wasted time and it leads to a bad affecting their reputation as a business because they hire a bad um, or unskilled person. So they need a setter, they post a job, they interview a few people and they hire the best. But most setters look good on paper. Everyone can show that they look good on a CV or on the application, but very few can actually book calls consistently. Very few actually understand the dynamics of a DM back and forth conversation with a prospect to get them to book a call. A tiny sample size of people that you interview is not enough. You're just comparing average to average to average. You need to talk to 50, 100 people to find who is the best. So the real cost is when your sample size is too small, as I said, you're not making a confident hire. You're making a guess. You're not talking to enough people. And the reason you're not talking to enough people is because you don't have the time to interview all these people. So I'm going to give you a solution in a second, but that's really the main crux of the problem is that you need a setter, you need them to be skilled, you need them to produce results, but you don't have the time to talk with 50 to 100 and take all those interviews with them, right? So what they claim is, these setters, so-called setters, is that they have 3 to 5 years of setting experience. But really they have customer support background and they do admin and operational skills. So what's missing is they have zero appointment setting experience. Answering messages is not the same as converting conversations into book calls. These are fundamentally different skills. So you're going to get people who say they're setters, but really they're just VAs. And if they're just a VA, they're not going to be a good setter, even though they say they're setters. Many, many, many hundreds of VAs say they're setters, but they're not. They're VAs. All they know is admin and customer support. What makes a great setter? These skills are rare. That's why finding elite setters requires a much larger talent pool. As I said, you need to speak to 50 to 100 people. They know how to build rapport fast. They know how to connect with people in seconds. They don't just send robot type messages. They know how to handle objections. So they know how to turn resistance into momentum. So if a person is resisting and they don't want to take the conversation forward, they know what to say and how to finesse things in a way that they can get the conversation back on track and get the person to get talking again. They know how to qualify prospects, so they know when not to book a person into the calendar and when to book a person into the calendar. They know when to create urgency, or they know how to create urgency. They know how to drive action without pressure. They know how to get a person on the call without adding too much scarcity and all this fake scarcity. They know how to move the conversation, so they know how to guide the conversation forward and be in control. And you're not going to get that from someone who is just a VA. Okay, so what thousands of interviews have taught us at Apex Setting, which is my business, we've interviewed thousands of setters. The pattern is always the same. The top 1% consistently outperform everyone else, but you only find them when you review enough candidates. So you have most applicants are not qualified, many average performers, and then the top 1% exceptional and consistent outperformers. Okay, so most applicants are not qualified, many are average at best, and a few are exceptional. So you need to talk with as many setters as possible to find the exceptional ones. Okay, next. Why interviewing 50 is actually faster. A few extra days up front saves months of wasted effort later. So the cost of a bad hire is months of lost opportunities, endless retraining, thousands in missed revenue, or hundreds of thousands, restarting the hiring process, and not to mention having to fire people again and again because they can't perform, and because you also don't have the time to train them. So the math is simple. Interviewing 50 setters might take a few extra days, but hiring the wrong person costs you months. Speed without quality is the most expensive shortcut in business. So if you're just going for hiring someone as fast as possible without the quality of knowing who is the best, which is hard to know when you've got so much stuff going on as a business owner. You're going to make a bad hire, you're going to lose money, lose time, lose reputation, all because you just need to hire someone. Okay, so next point. The process we recommend for your first hire, follow this framework. Never hire based on experience alone, hire based on performance. So number 1, source 50 candidates. Number 2, review every application. Number 3, conduct structured interviews with every single person. That looks good. Number 4, test communication skills with them. So you want to see and test them and ask them questions to basically see how they respond to certain situations. Number 5 is you want to test their coachability. So understand based on their personality, are they able to take orders or not? Number 6, shortlist top performers. So the top performers, put them in a separate list. And then number 7, hire the strongest candidate. So when it's time to take on a job, then you say, okay, you've got the job. Next, the real secret. So finding a great setter is only step 1. Even elite setters fail without the right system behind them. So great results come from great management. So yes, you can have A-star level player, setter in your team, but if you don't have a good system, they're not going to be able to perform. If you don't have the A to Z systems of how to take a person through a conversation, if you don't provide them with the scripts that work, if you don't manage them correctly, if you don't give them safe access, if you don't tell them how and when to send DMs based on your algorithm, so you don't get shadow banned, you have your own personal rules for those things. If you don't teach them this and walk them through all these things and don't have a system around this and don't train them weekly on it, not to mention your offer and the thing you're selling, if you don't do this regularly, weekly, to teach them and train them, then even the best setter isn't going to be good in your business. They're going to be poor. So how Apex Setting handles everything. This is my business. So most coaches and agencies don't have time to interview 50 to 100 setters. That's where we come in. We source and screen. We interview 100 plus applicants and filter the top performers only. So we interview hundreds upon hundreds of applicants, and then we look at who is the best. And then whoever is the best, we train and onboard them. So we train, they're trained specifically for your business, your script and your offer. So they're trained to your business, okay? And then we manage them. So we coach them weekly, we KPI track them, and continuous performance improvement. So every week they're improving. You get a trained setter and a proven management system, so you can focus on growing your business while we fill your calendar. This is my website here, Apex Setting. These are some of my clients. Basically what we do is we source appointment setters. We interview hundreds of them. We filter them through to find who is good and who is not. And then if they're needed for your business, we then take them on. We hire them. We train them up according to your business. And because we train them up, they're able to perform really well. We train them again and again and again. And then after training them, we make sure that we manage them 24/7, 7 days a week. So we always find clients ready for coaching. So people who need your services or whatever your service is, we find ready to buy leads. We consistently find people who are qualified to be on a book call. And then we have end-to-end follow-up to make sure from the first message to the last message, everything is basically taken care of. Okay, and then we do all that for you. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I hope you like this video. Again, if you want more videos on how to scale your coaching, how to scale your agency with setters, how to use setters to close more meetings, how to get 100 meetings a month with setters, how to take things to the next level and go from 20, 30, 40K to 100K a month to multiple hundreds of thousands. Having setters is going to be the way to get you there, because the top performers have 3-4 setters. And if you don't even have one, you need to make that higher and come talk to us and we'll walk you through how to do it. That's all for now. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to understand more about how to hire setters, how to train them, all that good stuff, then subscribe. Cheers.